Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to our Worship Wednesday podcast. We've got some fun ones today, some old, some new, and we're going to jump right into a song called Track Record 2.0. Hey, yo. Travis Green. We've done one other song with Tony Fresh and him a week or two ago, I think. So, yeah. What is cool about this song, and I'll use the D flat. Why not? Because who doesn't love D flat / C sharp, which has all sharps. But yeah, the cool thing about this song is inevitably it repeats a lot up until a certain section, which I'm going to remind myself. Repeats chords, keys, trap drums, gospel, before the B flat minor change. Anyways, we'll get to the change part once we get there. But so when the song starts, it's really funny because it's almost like it must have been a live recording. For most worship songs, that's how it works. But they didn't have like a clean start. It was probably coming out of another song, or they were doing something spontaneously, and then all of a sudden they were like, oh, we're going to start the song now, because it kind of fades in and it's the guy's already singing and the band's already playing, and so kind of weird there in case you hear that and you're like, that seems weird. But yeah, the little guitar line is really cool. Let's see if I can play it. I think it's probably this one. Nope, that's Vox. That's instrumental. This is guitar. Okay, so let's listen to this a little bit. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because it's a live loop, right? I don't think it's something in a track. It's not like a fake little thing. But yeah, so we're playing these chords, 3, 4, 6, 5, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and then 7/5, 1. I know it looks really funky in B flat or D flat, but sometimes I have to challenge myself to use the actual keys that they're in, just because I got to remember what we're doing. And then the repeating chords, yeah, and then the keys. The keys are really hot, meaning like they're playing places, they're adding a lot of cool sounds, synth stuff. This is the change. Yeah, a lot of good gospel-y stuff. I also wanted to highlight the drums a little bit because inevitably they're doing like what we would call trap beats. So really fast, repetitive hi-hat stuff. I think it comes in right here. With that little triplet. And that could be a track, but it also could be someone on like a little MPC drum pad, you know? So pretty cool stuff. And then, let's go to the actual change. So we're doing that stuff repetitively. It almost feels like it's ad-libbed the whole time, but I know it's not. I know they've rehearsed it, and the team's probably super tight to the point where they can do it and sound good. Oh, there's another page. That's why. Okay. So we're going to go to chorus 2 after all this stuff. Intro, chorus 1, verse 1, verse 2, chorus 1, refrain, which is like a repeat of a part of the chorus, a tag, And then we have an interlude, same kind of type of chords. Oh, yes. Okay. You guys probably see this right here. C flat. Okay. So just in theory reasons, because I get a lot of people go like, why do we have, even like double flats, or if I'm saying C flat and I'm playing, so I'm gonna play C flat right now. You guys ready? Here we go. So hopefully you can hear it. But okay, this is C flat. Okay, now I'm gonna play B. Or how about A double sharp? So it sounds dumb because it's literally the same note, but we call it different things. And I've gotten that a handful of times, not a lot, but it's just a funny conversation because even when I do charts, like I've been getting in the habit of, if I have a D flat, I'll also do a C sharp just in case. Just in case sometimes flats or sharps for people, they don't make sense. And one might be better than the other. Like for C sharp, it's all sharps. So everything is sharped. You don't have to think about what's not sharp. So if you're playing keys and for some reason that makes sense to you, for guitar players, I think they would do more of a D flat than a C sharp. Maybe not, I don't know. But so for this instant, we're actually just playing, like if I go to the number chart, which I'm hoping you guys like when I do that, you see it's a flat 7, okay? So in this song, no matter what key we're in this interlude part, we're doing da-na, da-na, I can't even sing it because it's out, So we got da 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 da, and then we have da da da, and then da 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 da. So yeah, it's that little. It's like a gospel-y change. That's what I was insinuating. Is this flat 7 to the 4 is kind of like a 2-5 kind of thing, right? And then we go up though to the 2, which doesn't apply to the 2-5-1. But so when you look at it in the key of D flat, it's actually C flat, which once again is the same note as B, but you're not going to put B because there, I don't believe, is an actual B flat in the song. I'm assuming it's it's B flat minor. So you wouldn't call it a B because that's just going to imply weird things. It's going to imply that maybe we're in a different key now or something. So the reason why we have to keep it with the same note changes, so if we're in the key of D flat, the next note below that going down has to be C, because that's how the theory works. That's how we know we're in the key of D flat and we're doing, and even with the number system, right? If we don't call it a C flat, and if we called it a B, then people are going to think, well, if I'm in D flat, then that means I'm playing the 6, but it's a 6, augmented 6, but it's major. It's like this weird, you can't do that. You have to call it C flat because people go, oh, well, one below D is C, and if it's C flat in the key of D flat, it's going to be a flat 7. So yeah, anyways. I guess that's it. Yeah. After they go, so now that we go to the chorus 2, instead of starting with the 3 to the 4, now we're actually starting with the 6, 4, and then it goes down to 3, 4, 6, 4, 2, 3, 4, 7, 7, 1. So that's the only real change. They keep playing that in the outro as well, and then it ends in all its glory. But I ended up talking really long on this song. I apologize, but some little good factoids, I think. So good tune. All right, we got Trust in God. And it's in C, which, hey, I'm a very big fan of C. This song, Chris Bryan, that's funny. I don't need to change it. Trust in God, elevation worship. Not a lot of critiques and or comments on this song, unfortunately. But it is, it's a what I called on my fifth note there, a typical worship song. It's straightforward, has an intro, a verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out, nothing too crazy. But Chris Brown, one of the longest standing, I think, worship leader writers that Elevation has had, other than Pastor Stephen, who once again also writes songs for the church. Repeating chords, which I always love as well, because it just helps new worshipers get up on stage to play and lead worship quicker. So if there is any song that I could recommend doing for a kids ministry, for a youth ministry, even a young adults ministry, and also a main service as well. But, for the bigger churches that are trying to build up internally, right? We call it intergenerationally. Then this would be a great song to implement into your church, into your master list. You play it in main service, then you have somebody from main service go and teach it to the kids' church, or have the youth band play it in youth, or they even have that worship person from main service go to the young adults ministry and play it with the band and teach them, or even lead the worship, right? Let's say that there's like how I grew up playing, I was like a rhythm guitar player and a background singer in main service, but then when I went to youth, I was the worship leader. So I was able to pick the songs and lead the band and teach the instruments and work on vocal parts with the rest of the vocalists. So great song to do that with. And then drums don't come into the second verse. So if you're a drummer and you're listening to this. But yeah, C, A minor, F, D minor, C, A minor, F, D minor. I just repeated the same two chord progressions, but I guess I can just play it because good old Elevation loves to copyright strike. So, could have tuned it before I started. Oop, wrong note. I think it fell over earlier, so that's why it's really, really messed up. Anyways, blessed assurance. Right? And you just keep repeating that over and over again. I was swinging it. It's not swung, is it? Oh no, it's 6/8. Okay, cool. Let's see a few more notes. So dynamics. So when you have a song like this, when it's the same four chords the whole time, and how do you distinguish a verse from a chorus? Once again, like I said, verse 2, that's when the drums come in. So that builds dynamics. You don't have it in the first verse and the first chorus, but you add it in the second verse. So for example, to the bridge, I really like how they added the instruments. They incorporated certain build-ups for certain instruments, almost like they were passing the baton, right? Let's say a bridge part. I can't remember if this song does it, but let's say the bridge starts with piano, right? And then whatever the piano is doing to highlight, with a little melody on the right hand, with the bass playing on the left hand. And let's say the guitar player comes in and copies what the right hand's doing with the piano player. And then the bass comes in and plays what the left hand's doing on the piano player. And then the drums just brings it all together. While the vocals are singing and then harmonizing as it grows. Just little things that just make any band, whether it be in kids all the way up to main service, it'll make you sound professional, make you sound like you know what you're doing. That's something I always have to remind my volunteers to do, is be mindful of the parts, because the sections, when you do change, there should be something changing as well. So, if you're gonna play the verse a certain way, you should either play it again the same way the next time, or, play it the same style but maybe louder. Same thing with the choruses, right? Let's say the verses are, hi-hat, and for choruses, you're doing to the ride or the crash, or it's The bridge is usually like a tom thing, or there's nothing and then you're slowly building. Those are just little things you can do to make a simple song just sound, like I said, super professional, or just like a full band song. So anyways, yeah, even though it's typical, it's still a good song to start with, and enjoy. Alrighty. Wait on You. I put your. Oops. I've had a lot of typos today, but I can change that later. And I did mention this earlier in the podcast, but whenever I have like a D flat, 9 times out of 10, I will actually put the same files in a different folder, but call it C sharp. So I'll literally have another version of the chart that says C sharp versus D flat, even though it's going to sound the same to the listener. For someone playing on an instrument, let's say it's their first time, it's their first instrument, or it's they're just learning. For whatever reason, it might make more sense. I mean, in this case, if you're playing guitar, you would capo and you would play it because the original song is in D. So if you're able to go, technically you can't go down. But let's say you're playing in D, but you're using like the C shape, then you can move it down and use a capo. But for any other instruments, piano, other than doing the transpose button, for bass, maybe you like flats more than you like to see the sharp notes, and vocally it doesn't really matter, drums wise it doesn't really matter. But let's go for our sanity. Let's go to, I don't have the charts in here. Look at that. Well, shoot. We're going to have to go to the interwebs. Wow. All right, so Wait on You. Click in here to elevation. And what did I say? We're going to do D, right? D is right here. Bam! So I need to download these. I might actually sneeze really quick. Maybe not. Maybe we'll see. Okay, so this song is crazy long. I think the total time is like 13 minutes, which is just insane. But luckily, let's see if I put the notes down. So, and also I think this is the most notes I've ever put on a podcast song. So that's kind of funny. Nothing crazy. It's just, I was trying to remember things while I was listening to it. So yes, it is 13 minutes long. It is in D flat / C sharp, again, other than the original. The thing that, I can't remember what I was going to bring up now that I said all this. The timing. Okay, so 7 minutes comes second bridge. So by the time we get to the 7-minute mark, we're now introducing what will inevitably be the last half of the song, but it's, we're at the second bridge. So the song's already happened. We're kind of coming back and they're introducing a new bridge. So just kind of funny. But yeah, very interesting melody to start with. I made a note that it's a very specific type of verse for like a specific type of situation or person, or I said it's not really congregational. It's when you're talking about pots of gold or a hospital room, not everybody has those, references that they could pull from. If you've never had anyone in a hospital, even yourself, like fighting something like a cancer, a disease, we've seen TV shows and stuff like that, or movies, but the pot of gold thing too, at the end of a rainbow, just very esoteric, which is fine. But yeah, I've had pastors who we've written songs at the church, and they've respectively asked us to change certain things because it just sounded too esoteric. It sounded too artsy. And the idea is that when you do write a worship song, you do want it to be congregational. You do want everyone who's singing it to actually have it apply to them in their life, or at least know somebody. So, and then curious. Oh yeah, I was curious what the chorus would sound like in 3/4 versus 12/8. Now, if you don't know the difference between that, the best way I could put it is like it's a shuffling, right? 12/8 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's almost like Christmassy, right? But if you didn't listen to the guitar, like the dun 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 dun, if you didn't listen to the guitar and you just heard the drums, you would think it's in 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the vocals kind of do a little triplet-y kind of waltzy vibe. But once it gets to the chorus, I'm gonna wait on you to, I'm gonna wait on you to. I've tasted your goodness, I've trusted your promise. And the BPM is 104, which for a waltz is not, it's technically fast, because normally a song like this would maybe be like 80 BPMs. But the interesting part, I just thought of was, because if we have this, very interesting melody line, by the way. I think it goes up there, maybe. But anyways, I'm gonna wait on you. Like, my thought was, what if it was just, slower, I'm gonna wait on you. Yes, I'm gonna wait on you. Tasted your goodness, trusted your promise, wait on you. It feels more, not in 3, but that seems like a typical worship vibe, right? Versus the verses are very, I've done the it's very narrative-y. That's not a word, but it sounds like you're narrating versus just singing a song. So, not to mention all the words, but okay. The break. Okay, so bridges are cool. I keep forgetting there's multiple pages. So wait on the Lord. Wait. He will do your strength. I love the chord changes for the first bridge for sure. So I have in parentheses G/B, so G over B. They don't do it every time, but they'll do it occasionally, especially the bass player. And then even at the end part, the E minor, D F sharp, D over F sharp, and then A over C sharp. When they introduce it, yes, they play the C sharp, but then other times they only play the A. So just be mindful of that. That's something I would tell you. Talk to your band, talk to your worship leader, your MD, and just say, hey, do you want to keep doing these changes? Are we going to do it every time? Or are we not going to do it at all? Or we're going to do it like once? So just something to clear up before you guys go crazy with the worship. Can I not scroll down? I should be can I touch it? No. Well, I'm hoping we can see all the parts. But then we have, so bridge 1 is the same. It's the same. I don't know why I kept the chords there. The vocals are different, aren't they? No. Something was usually different if I leave a bridge, but maybe not. But then there's the alt bridge, which it does this walk-up thing, right? Do-do-do. I'm singing I'm singing like the harmony. Do 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 ba da da da. So it's essentially the same types of progression. They're just adding extra notes. But another thing I thought of, and now my nose is running. One thing I thought of was the idea of doing G, A, G over B, right? A, G over B, A over C sharp. Now, you might have to do that if you're limited to, not really playing minor chords. So I think it'd be okay. Maybe not really on piano, but on other instruments, guitar, bass doesn't matter. But all that to be said is try it. I put minors there just because it that was what I would do, and it does sound a little bit more like the record, but just because you're playing an alternate version of those notes doesn't mean it's wrong. But yeah, and then bridge 2, we actually have those same alt bridge chords, but now every time. So they're literally doing the G, A, B minor, A, B minor, A over C sharp every single time. So we don't do the E minor, D over F sharp, A over C sharp thing. So yeah, bass slow walk up. There is an instance where instead of doing the G to the A for the bridge 2, there's that that's like a consistent kind of change instead of doing. Instead of doing those changes, the bass at some point just does these notes. Now the inversion of G to A would be B to C sharp. So it's like a slower version of the changes that we're already doing. But anyway, something to be mindful of if you're a bass player, that does happen. I think it's probably the last time of the bridge or a couple last times. And yeah, so once again, at 7 minutes, so we're halfway through the song, and they then introduce that bridge 2 part. So just something to be mindful of, that maybe your congregation might not get that far. You might not be able to play the whole song, which is okay. Or you can cut out some other parts, some other repeats of bridge 1. But then we do go to a tag, which is just really quick tags. That's what happens when you wait. Same chords. Go back to bridge 2, bridge 3. And then the last part, and I actually did cut it short technically, because I'm going to tag 3. The D to D sus to G. Because after this point, after you're doing this whole, that's what happens when you wait. And they're just doing this big building thing on the D notes. I put D sus to D. I think it's the opposite. So all that to be said. And then they also do hit a G at the end. Not every time, but it's a good way to, it's not a 5 note, but it is a 4. And it just helps bring you back to the 1. You want to resolve it if you go back to that G. So, but yeah, after that point, after you get to all these parts, I think that even in the recording, they were relying heavily on the lead worship leader. Lead worship leader, but the worship leader and the MD. I'm guessing they were vibing off of the worship leader, and the MD's probably calling out the changes, because at that point, there's no chart that could save you. It's all instinct. It's all you just reacting. So anyways, crazy long song, a lot of random little factoids, but definitely worth trying if your band is up to it and your worship team, and enjoy. Alrighty, so we are going to Who You Say I Am, Hillsong Worship, and at our church, don't know why, but we did it in the key of B, the key of E, the key of E flat, and then the original is in G flat / F sharp. Just to highlight the original, I personally like the key of F sharp, whether I'm playing guitar or even if you're playing on piano. I like the key of F sharp for piano. So it's all the black keys plus a couple little white ones, and it's just easy to play. It's nice. But, so if you're frustrated with G flat, try F sharp if you do the original. But let's go to B. Might as well try B. And this song is classic, right? I don't really have a lot of notes, honestly. Very straightforward waltz type of worship. If you don't know what waltz means, it's just kind of a slang term for 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You might hear that term. Hey, we're going to do this in a waltz feel or something. You'd be like, I just know that's 3, so I'll just follow the people. But what I was very surprised about the song, and this is something that I've always done growing up, is watching the time of a song. So the cliche thing is if you're not hitting the chorus of like a pop song by 30 seconds, then it's too long. Like you need to shorten it. Or if the song is longer than 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it needs to be shorter. Because you're thinking radio, you're thinking trying to get people's attention, you want to give them the best part of the song, which is usually the chorus, by 30 seconds. People have 30 seconds to listen to your song for sure. So you give them that time, and then once you come in with the chorus, hopefully they stick around and they listen to the rest of the song. But even for things like radio-ready music, or let's say you have a publisher and you're putting music out there and they want to use your whole song for a soundtrack or something, or a commercial, and all that to be said is, I for the longest time I always just pay attention to where the song is at certain sections or at certain parts of the song. Especially this week, the song's just not demanded it, but it applied to a lot of things, keeping track of where the song was in the time. So yeah, the song is pretty short. And so at 2 minutes, we are already at the bridge, which is crazy. We've already gone through 2 verses and 2 choruses by 2 minutes, which is really fast. And I don't know if it's like the waltz feel that does it or what, but once we get to the bridge, which is epic, I am chosen, not forsaken, I am who you say I am. It's just 1 page, right? Yeah. As I make it go away. So, walk up at the end of the bridge tag. I didn't chart it, but not forsaken. I am who you say I am. I'm singing a harmony. Sorry. Not forsaken. I am who you say I am. And then let's see. Now I'm trying to remember what the tag is. It's just, yeah. It's 6 A over F, A sharp over F sharp to the E. So yeah, 6, 7 essentially to the 4. So yeah, I didn't chart it. I should have, but bass player, yeah, if you want to do that, awesome. And then at 3 minutes, literally the song's over at 3 minutes, literally. I think there's another like 2.5 more minutes of the song, and they just inevitably, they end the song at 3 minutes, but then they just have it like, not a cappella, but it's instrumental, but they're playing the bridge, and then you can hear the crowd slowly come in. It's really beautiful. But you might not even go there with your church or your congregation or your service. You might just edit at that 3 minute mark, which is pretty cool actually. Like when I think about a youth service, and you're trying to stay, locked in on the time, your service flow, this actually seems like a really great song to use because it still gives you that type of worship, right? You came out of a upbeat, jumpy song and you're landing into this, very, waltzy song, but, worship felt, and you could raise your hands and sing out. And but then if you wanted to extend it, you literally just start the bridge over again, a cappella, have someone talk, and then have the congregation sing out. It'd be a really nice moment. But yeah, at the end you see the tag, I am who you say I am. G minor, F sharp, E, G minor, F sharp, E, then you end. But yeah, very, very standard worship song, but very nice for many different applications. So definitely try to use it. Alrighty. Last but not least, I'll do the number chart again, I guess. Why not? Yes, so this is in the original key, I believe, of A. I put might be overplayed because even at our church, I think other than like our kids ministry, I'm guessing that we've done it in young adults. We've definitely done it a lot in youth and then main service. But yeah, this song is for whatever reason, is so good that it probably was overplayed at most churches, which is unfortunate sometimes, but it when you have a good song and you want to keep playing it, the idea though is just separate it, right? Do it once a month, not every other service, because then it'll just get overplayed. And it is in 4/4. I'm trying to remember the beginning. Is it da, 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 I give you glory? Yeah. So the thing I definitely want to highlight from the beginning is the drums. The drums, that cool side stick thing. And I think I can play the drums. I don't think I'll get copyright striked. Let's see. I'm trying to remember if they do the snare in the beginning. I don't think they do. It's this vibe. Let's see. Oh, never mind. So once the whole band comes in, I'll be really surprised if I get copyright strikes for that. It'd be funny. You can't copyright drums. Changes are pretty simple. 1, 4, 1, 6 minor, 5, 4, 1. Chorus, your presence. Oh, so what's funny is I did put the 2 minors every time here. That's not necessarily true. So the first half is usually just 1, your presence. I think it goes to the 4 is an open door. Or maybe, I don't know if it does. Let's see, your presence. Is it A? Your presence is an open door. Maybe it does a sus. Love you, Lord, like never before. And then the second time, your presence, the 2 minor, is an open door to 1. And then 1/3, now good, Lord, like never before. So the only thing I added wrong was the 2 minor. It shouldn't be every time, but yeah, simple enough there. First half of chorus, simple, and then second half changes. I'm trying to remember what that was applying to. But the transition into the second verse, let's listen to that. Really going to push the limits on the drum part here. Yeah, so chorus ends right there, and then do, and then in. So very subtle transition, but it's kind of like iconic. It's kind of like if you don't play that, somebody might notice, and you never want anyone to get distracted in your worship. You don't want them to overthink something like, oh, that doesn't sound right, or that sounds weird, or it doesn't sound like a mistake. It sounds like an actual, intentional thing. But the guitar line for the second verse I like. Do, 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 do. If you're a guitar player, electric guitar, obviously, or key player, right? Definitely do that because it's nice, and it also just builds dynamics, makes the song sound like it's getting bigger. Then we got the bridge. Do, 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 do. I know breakthrough is coming. Really cool changes too. 4, 6, 5, 1/3, 4, 6, 5, 1/3. Key line as a vocal. Okay, so one thing I might hear a church. Sorry, I got all of a sudden a runny nose. One thing I could hear in a worship service situation, let's say it's a kids ministry or a youth ministry, they're like, hey, we have a 3-piece, or we don't have tracks, and we still want that do 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 do. Even in the song, I'm pretty sure they sing it out vocally, but you could have the congregation do that. You could have the kids, the youth, the maid service, whoever's there, even your vocal team, obviously, sing that line if it's important, and maybe you don't do it right away, you do it at the end or after the bridge or whatever. But yeah, so that's just something that if you don't have that element from your keyboard player, your guitar player, just sing it out, and have the congregation do it too. It'll be very congregational to the point where, people have a great time. That's one thing too. I love to challenge other worshipers, especially in the audience, of, you might not really relate to the words necessarily, but you still want to sing. And so if it's just something that you can just sing like a melody, it's just, I don't know, it's pure and it's natural to the point where then you have that connection spiritually. You have the euphoria of just what God means to you, and you're singing out and you're doing it. And even if you're not in perfect pitch, it's fun and it's empowering. So feel free to empower your congregation is my comment. And then the last thing is outro to the bridge, going back to the bridge, halftime. Okay, yeah, so then in this song too, they, just like how in the last song, it ends, and then all of a sudden you hear the bridge part, lightly in the background. Some of the best MDs or keyboard players that I know of, they do that all the time. We'll be playing a song, and let's say the normal situation would call us to stop, right, to end and go into announcements or some other aspect of the service. But you got that keyboard player, that guitar player that's playing the do-do-do-do-do-do, and all of a sudden people are just like, oh, like they feel it. You just feel everyone building really lightly, and then all of a sudden people just start, I know. That's what you want, right? But yeah, so once you go outro to the bridge and then even back into the bridge, if you do that, one thing I thought it was would be kind of cool is like halftime, because da da ga da 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 ga 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 boo da ga ga ga. Like I thought that'd be so cool, because normally it's I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. By God, made me a promise. If you even did straight, and then all of a sudden, I know breakthrough is coming. By faith, I see a miracle. My God, I don't know. I just thought it'd be cool. So hey, if you want to try it, for me, do it. Let me know how it goes. But yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm going to cut the podcast as fast as physically possible. All of a sudden, this rush of snot just came through my nose. TMI. But no, appreciate everybody who checks out these videos at any point, at any time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to leave a comment down below, or send me an email, scott@onlywaytoplay.com. And we'll see you guys next time.